Hey, so last night's Psycard of the week, weekly insight and how to make full use of it. Last night's card was the Liar card. Um, Full insight plus the spirit messages can be found on the Facebook page, which is Spirit Meets Venture. I will place a link within this video. Those of you that are watching this on Spirit Meets Venture, you can find a whole wealth of resources on my YouTube channel. If you search Shane Gadd, I will be there. Brought to you by www.shanegadd.com. So last night's card, the Liar card. Now, the interesting thing about this card is quite often when it kind of turns up within a consultation, there are many layers that it can kind of express, many layers it can talk. But you know, last night this is really kind of talking to me in a couple of ways. The first, which felt so kind of solid and very strong, is that, very simply, are we being honest with ourselves? Are we being honest with ourselves? That is never really easy. I think that that's one of the hardest journeys you can take within this life, yet it's at the heart of so much. I kind of often find that the people that I have the honour to consult are at that place where they are really truly beginning to be really honest with themselves, which means that then in turn spirit can be very honest with them, and from that place comes quite often the most profoundest changes, because when we're really honest with ourselves, we're in a place where we're really open to have a look at what's going on within our lives. We're really kind of looking at ourselves in a deeper, but importantly quite often in a kinder way and in a more kind of respectful way, because what we're doing is, instead of kind of fortifying or defending and protecting those wounds and those areas that need the healing the most, we're open, we're receiving, we're kind of in a place where we want to embrace those changes, and often, importantly, we're ready to, because change can only come when we're ready to create change. And at that level, it means that normally that's a very integrated, consistent and sustainable change. It's quite often, you take kind of 1st of January, for instance, people kind of waking up and going, right, I'm going to start running 3 miles a day. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. Unless we're really fully integrated into that place and fully integrated to that change, that a week later it's not going to be sustained, because there's a part of us that either isn't ready or we're trying to force the change. And I think there's a balance really between forcing the change and kind of being inspired by that change. There's a bit of both that's needed, but too much of forcing it's not going to be sustained, which is the difference between inspired and motivated to create those changes at that level. It's just kind of trying to always kind of approach yourself from a place of, am I being honest with myself? If you can gently start having that conversation with yourself, and actually it really kind of starts liberating you, it really starts freeing you, because there's so much energy that's used quite often to kind of defend those kind of fragilities, or defend those wounds, or defend those imperfections. Life is not perfect. It's progressive, and it's okay to kind of embrace those vulnerabilities and say, these are the things that need to change. I kind of remember very, very kind of powerfully. Some of you know my story, and it's kind of very, very relevant for me this week, because I went to see my consultant that I see once a year. And I can remember many years ago, because I have a rare form of arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. I remember years ago walking towards the shopping mall and being horrified on the reflection that I caught as I kind of approached that shopping mall, because of my posture at that time being really stooped over. And I remember kind of really, really kind of horrified, and kind of just didn't want to look at it. And it really kind of stuck with me for weeks. And I actually sat there one day and thought, okay, so what can I do to change that? And there was a lot at that time I could have done to change it. So I thought, right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of working towards that. I'm going to start embracing it. But what come from that was a compassion for myself, and it's the key, those areas that we're struggling with. We want to try and meet them with honesty, and we want to try and meet them with compassion. The other aspect of this card is everybody around you being honest with you, and are you being authentic each and every day? Are you living from a place where your deep core values are being met in every kind of choice we make, in every kind of action? And that is a lifetime journey. That's not something that stops. That is something that keeps unraveling and keeps unfolding a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. But there you go. That's kind of the core aspects of this week's Psycard Insight, and importantly, how we can make the most of them. I'll speak to you all very soon. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.